Morning, December 5th, 2022. I was just distracted there reading some chat comments. Here's my audio confirmation, and I have a second tab open. Confirmation. So meet that one too. December 5th, 2022. It's 9 o'clock straight up. Whoops, 9:01 now in the morning. On a Monday morning, come over here and have a look at the chat room. Wait a minute, did I just have that on? Did I start with the full screen? Oh, I did start with the full screen. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. Get over it. Windows Daily number 109. That title will change after we're done today, depending upon what we actually do during today's session, which I do have a plan. And it's in response to an email that came from Josh Kinder. But a couple interesting points here. I was tinkering around with this. Dennis's question, is there a way to not play the trailer when I bring up this web page? I understand that it gets old after a while, besides scrolling through it every time. And I was trying to test what I'm doing because I find it seems like when I bring it up, it's always muted and other channels are not muted. So I'm wondering, can you mute the video on a particular channel so that every time you bring up that channel it's muted? So I was tinkering around with that a little bit, and I couldn't even get the trailer to play. So I don't quite have that figured out. I know that if you have, well, in the past I've had one tab open with my live video and I get the trailer, and when the trailer finishes it's done, and then you can refresh that and it plays the trailer again. If you go into another tab and brought it up fresh, it would play again. But this morning neither Big Beast Build nor Baby Beast would play the trailer at all. I assume I have the trailer configured. I don't know. And then Rand says, when you try to click the little left pointing arrow in the middle right of the notification pane, does anything happen? So the little left pointing in the middle right of the notification pane. Well, I don't have notifications showing up, so I can't even identify or see what that is. For me, the pointer indicates it's clickable. When I click, nothing happens. Is he talking about this live stream? I'm not really sure. All right. So anyway, if somebody's got tips on that, go ahead. That one's a little bit long in the tooth. My intention is to remake those trailers now and then. And they're mainly of use to people who are new. Now, another thing, of course, when it starts playing, you could right away just mute it. That way you're not listening to it again. The translucent part that covers your face in the video thumbnail. Left pointing arrow. Well, I guess I can't do that now because the video is running, so I'm not going to be able to get back to the thumbnail, but I'll try to take a closer look at that on another occasion. So let's get to Josh's email. Oh, by the way, for if you're new around here, I guess this is the same thing the trailer says. These Windows Daily topics come by virtue of people sending me emails with some kind of a question or something they need help with or something they're curious about, or it can be in chat comments, or it can be in comments on a video. That's where I pick these up from. If you put a comment on any of my videos, a new comment, not replying to another comment. If you reply to another comment, then that notification cuts me a little different. So putting a new comment on any of my videos, and I'll see it. Although now that I say that, I realize I didn't check on that today. I should have. Now let's get my screens set up here, right? This is Josh's email, but I want to take and get this one dragged over to here so that if there's a problem with the live stream, you can let me know in chat, and hopefully I'll see that. And then Rand says where it shows the countdown. Yeah, understood. Okay, I'll take a look at. So you saying when you try to click that, does anything happen? For me, the pointer indicates it's clickable. When I click, nothing happens. I don't think anything's supposed to happen with the show hasn't started yet. Now, something that some of you might be wondering about, what happened with my internet issues, because I had 3 bad days last week where twice the Windows Daily crashed because my upload speed crashed. And it seemed to happen at the same time each day. But then the third day, it was my Fortnite stream that starts 2 hours before this stream starts. And it crashed, but my Windows Daily worked fine. So it wasn't a consistent time of day. Now, at that point, after that third day, then I restarted the router. I had not restarted the router yet. I had, when the first time the crash happened, I did nothing. After about 10 minutes after the stream crashed, my upload speed returned. The second day that the that my stream crashed due to the upload speed, it did come back. The speed did come back within minutes after the stream crashing. I restarted Big Beast Build, not the router, just the computer. And then the third day, when it happened again, but earlier in the day, then I restarted the router. I have not had any trouble since restarting the router. And I have not called Comcast because that's the first thing that they're going to want me to restart the router. They're going to want me to test the speed by connecting directly to the router. I know their routine of their troubleshooting. So anyway, maybe it was just the router needed to be restarted. So now let's get on to Josh's question, because that should wind up being the topic of today's, or the title of today's video. Oops, I got to punch buttons. Don't forget your buttons, Doug. Josh says, I was trying to get my aunt's printer to print something last night. My aunt has one good copy of what she was trying to print, and whenever she or I tell it to print, it does not come out right. If you can help, maybe you can use this information for your Windows Daily or a Zoom on Saturday, your friend Josh. So here's what it is. It's not a confidential document. In fact, I think that's not considered confidential. It's a recipe. Stuffed pepper soup. So this is the printout that looks good. This is the way it's supposed to look. Now, I don't know if this was printed just recently. Yes, I do. That was printed November 22nd, 2021. Didn't even think to look at that date. Now when they try to print it, here's what happens. We don't even get a date up at the top. Now, wait a minute. Why did it shouldn't be? Oh, that's a fax. That looks like that came by on a fax machine, maybe. Well, no, with that heading, that could have printed out just with a header that shows the date and time that it was printed. Hang on a moment. I drink this fruit smoothie in the mornings with breakfast, and that's why I'm always having to clear my throat. I think I'll just start drinking water before the shows. So here's how it looks when it comes out bad. So I'm giving people in chat a little bit of time. This is going to be an interactive session with chat to see what people are thinking about this. Now, I'm just going to take this with what Josh has given us, okay? I know many of you are going to be asking, what's the make and model of the printer? Is it a laser printer? Is it an inkjet? Josh, don't answer those questions yet if you're here. Because there's a lot of clues that we get from this printout itself. So even when you're seeing this print job, what does it tell you about the printer? What can you deduce about the printer here, and what are you thinking? So I'm going to go bring chat back up and see what we're saying. And I don't have the most recent chat stuff there. Looks like I got to go refresh. Let's come over to the right place. All right, so I'll restore chat here. There, we got it all. And I still have my other chat on the other window. So let's see what we got. Where it shows a countdown. Okay, that's on that subject. I'll look at it later. And then Bobby comes in with another. Oh, Bobby, I saw your comment on Carrie's channel saying that you came to Carrie's channel from my channel. That's the first time I've seen that. I think that's saying that Bobby started with our channel and then he discovered Carrie by virtue of my channel. How about that? I'm increasing Carrie Holzman's audience. Who would have thunk it? Let's get bigger here. There's Bobby Warren saying hello, translucent part. Oh, and he says, my coworker Haley has Frontier internet It doesn't work sometimes, and it's slow and lagging. Plug a computer directly into the modem, into the Frontier Internet, with everything else disconnected from your router modem. No other switches, no other computers connected, and do a speed test and see if that's still happening, because there might be a problem within the local area network that's causing the problem rather than Frontier. So we'll just hit with that comment. Tim Sal, it's my internet down Saturday. It was in the middle of the video, had to restart router and modem. Lawn Dog, yes, Doug, I've had a lot of problems over the years printing out recipes from the internet. This is good discussion to have why these two problems occur. What you see on screen is not what gets onto the paper. We're dealing with a black and white printer. Yes, black and white. I don't think inkjet. Let's see if there's other people thinking differently. Yeah, black and white printer, but do you really think it's inkjet? No color, agreed. Inkjet head is partially clogged, needs cleaning. Possibility. Superficially, looks to me like it might be a drum in a laser printer starting to fail, since some of it is quite clear. I'm more leaning towards this line of thinking, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Printer may be having issues on a particular pass across the paper. That's close to what I'm thinking. I'm not saying close to right. I'm saying close to what I'm thinking. I do not claim to be an expert with printers. I've had a lot of experience with printers, a lot of different makes of printers, but somebody who deals every day with printers might be able to tell me I'm all wet with some of the things that I'm going to be saying. Bobby, me and her did that all the time with my computer, and her computer doesn't have a port. So her computer doesn't have an Ethernet port, so her computer is wireless only, I think is what he's saying there. And me and her did that all the time with my computer. I am thinking maybe that means Bobby's computer on the same internet does not have the trouble, or does have the trouble. If Bobby's computer does not have the trouble, then that means it's not Frontier's problem. But he says, my coworker, Haley, has Frontier Internet. That implies it's not an internet that they share together. So I'm not quite understanding what's behind that. What happens when Josh tries to print a test page? That's a good question. Now, we don't know. We're gonna deal with today's question based upon what we've been given and try to cover the whole realm of things that could be done. That's the way I'd like to handle questions that are posed. I'm going to take the question as it was given. We all have questions asked back. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? I want to give some answers before we ask the user to respond with some things. They'll kind of be high-level questions. So that's what my intent. Now, we may wind up getting input from Josh towards the end of this video, or maybe on another day. So yeah, sending a test page, that's very commonly one of the diagnostics that I'll use, or one of the troubleshooting tests that I'll use. Doug, when you use the term problems with printing, I'm interpreting that as the pages not printing like it should, yeah, with the text and graphics, but am I missing some kind of flaw? I think there is something that you're missing that is on that defective print page. It's the same page, yeah, he's printing the same page as was previously printed well in the actual printing. Some kind of flaw in the actual printing, like having lines or blank spaces. I went over and do troubleshooting. I think that's Bobby saying he went over to his coworker's home to do troubleshooting on her internet problem. I'm kind of filling in some words in there. When you say you went over, I'm deducing that means you went to her home. So we're kind of dealing with two topics here concurrently. Now let me go back to this page and point out some things. What is wrong with this printout? Hang on. You might not realize to notice it until you've been down this road a few times. But this line in here, this row, see there's a problem right in there. What was that supposed to be anyway? Going back here. Yeah, it's way up there at the top of the page. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So that's what that was supposed to be. So it looks like we're missing something right through the center of that ball shape and through here and through here. Then this line, the top half of this line looks like it's wiped out, and it's probably wiped out all the way across here, but there is nothing across that section. I'm bouncing back and forth between the original and the defective one. Then there's this row, and then there's this row right here by Holly. Let's see, yeah, by Holly. Well, that is grayed out. That looks like it's okay. And then what's the next defective row? It took me a moment to find it, but it's right here. So right along here, all the way across here, this looks like a bad line or row. And then here, that looks bad across there. And then down here. And once you see these places, this one, this one, this one, I think right in here in this blank area, up here, and then up here, they're very similar spaced. What that tells me is that this is a laser printer, not an inkjet, I think. And the reason I think that is because I'm going to call it the platen or the roller. I'm not sure I got the technical term right. But as it rolls around, that looks to me like about the space, and it's a repeatable space. Oh, listen to this.
Your driver timer is done.
Alexa, add 10 minutes to the timer.
10 minutes added.
That's a timer to remind me to try resetting the graphics adapter that I didn't do at the end of Saturday's live stream to see if that crashes the stream. Okay, I'm going to try to crash the stream today at the end. And she's going to remind me again. Okay, so that roller goes around. If there's a defective strip across that roll. Now, the first thing that I come to, well, should I say that yet? No, let's see if somebody's else come up with that yet. And by the way, when I say what I think the first thing to check is, or to try to fix it, somebody who's far more experienced with printers than I might say, nope, that's not right, because they've seen this over and over and over, and they recognize exactly right now what it is. And also, if they know what make and model printer it is, that would also help them with it. So, and Londog says, I see it now. Yes, there's definitely a problem with the print head. Now, an inkjet printer has a much smaller print head. And when I've seen a problem with a print head on an inkjet printer, it would be like one line of dots across. So it would be like looking right across this line right here where the letter O, the letter V, the letter E, maybe right in the middle or at the top section. It's a bad spot all the way across, because the inkjet print head typically isn't even tall enough to do the capital D in one pass. So if it's a problem with the inkjet print head, I'd expect it to be much more frequent of an occurrence. Bobby, I hope I could join a Zoom session. And yeah, Bobby, we could do that tomorrow if you'd like to. I don't know. I don't remember if you already have the Zoom credentials, but send me an email at the address that I put on the screen often, and I'll send you the Zoom credentials. We could do that tomorrow if you want to have a conversation about it. That'd be great to show you guys what happened. Rick, hello to you. What printer brand model inkjet laser OEM toner is an OEM toner in is the printout from the same program? Yeah, these are all questions that any technical person would want to ask right back. I want to address the questions as they're presented and respond to those. And the next step will be get that information from the questioner, because the brand and model is important, because once we get the basics out of the way, which I haven't described yet, what's the first basic that I want to do with this printer, then we go do some Google searches about the printer. We go look at the printer manual. There's a troubleshooting section typically in the printer manual. That's a great way to go. If you just do a Google search for the printer brand and model and the description of the symptom, you type the printer brand and model, and then start typing the description, see what suggestions come up. If it's a frequent problem, you're going to find it pretty quickly. If it's laser, there could be dirt. Well, perhaps. I've got other thoughts about what's going on with the laser. It's possible the paper feed is having issues. It's not aligning correctly for the next line to create. That's one possibility. Doesn't necessarily look like a print head issue. Okay, we were adding more thoughts here, more ideas, more brainstorming. More like a feed issue, could be junk in the rollers or gear mechanism. Sometimes a blast of air will help clear these problems. I would think that if it's a feed issue, we'd be seeing a less regularity of the problem. And if Josh were to hold one paper on top of the other, hold it up to a light, I suspect that the spacing between this line and this line down here, for instance, is identical. Which tells me the paper is feeding through just fine. If you line up this text by holding them over each other, and then pick any line down towards the bottom if it's the same place. Now, don't stack the papers evenly so the edges are the same, because I don't know that these were printed from the same thing. Since this one has the header at the top, that might change the alignment. This one doesn't look like it even attempted to print a header at the top, but it could be that header was on a problem part of the print job. Then let's go on. Never hurts to do a printer cleaning. Yes, most all printers have a cleaning procedure. You'll find that in the manual. You may be, if you're experienced enough with printers, you probably know how to punch through the buttons on the printer to find it, or to go through the start menu of the computer and go to the printer manufacturer's app that may be already installed on the computer to do a print cleaning. Sometimes it's just right click on the printer object in the printer control panel and choose an option for cleaning. And the inkjet print head has like 5 to 7 little micro solenoids. Sometimes the solenoids individually get stuck, causes a problem when printing a character. An inkjet doesn't. I'm pretty sure you understand this, Lawn Dog, but it doesn't print a character like a typewriter would have a key with a particular character. It has all these little dots, and those dots print across the row. So it's not going to have a problem with a particular letter, but it would have a problem with a particular vertical position, and that should be across the whole line, unless that particular jet is just intermittently problematic. Jeff to Lawn Dog, I've generally had poor luck with built-in inkjet print head cleaning, mostly with Epson models. And when you do an inkjet print head cleaning, it uses a lot of ink to do that. Bobby says, Haley told me she is done with Frontier and she's going to Spectrum. That would be a mistake if the problem is not actually with Frontier. If she switches to Spectrum and there is some other problem going on with the network, and she might still have a problem, and all that effort of switching services is down the tubes. It's quite possible to get upset of your ISP when the problem's not really your ISP. Take my recent experience, case in point. I restarted my router. So far, I haven't had any more trouble. Is that really a problem with Comcast? Well, it's their router. Yeah, but routers are routers are routers. Any other service is going to have troubles like that. And by the way, I don't have any reasonable alternative service available in my area. Hang on. Lawn Dog, well, that can be true because when the ink dries and causes microsolenoids to get sticky, it's problematic to repair, but one method is some alcohol on the end of the print head. I would want to look at the printer manual and see what their prescribed method for cleaning the print head is, because they have some specific guidance to that. If they don't have any specific guidance, then I would do Google search, do YouTube search, try to find somebody else who has been through it rather than taking your own deductions of how to go about it. That's what I would do. Toner could be stuck on the toner cartridge roller. There you go. I like this one. The toner cartridge. There's typically a toner cartridge and a fuser, drum, There's another word for the other device, and I was thinking I should go look that up before I started today's video, but somebody will come up with that other device that's in most laser printers. I'm thinking there's a problem with the roller. Now, how about just if there's not enough toner? If the toner is low and that roller turns around, it's trying to attract toner onto the platen, the drum, the roller. And if the toner is just low enough that that there's a weak spot, and maybe there's the electrostatic charge, I assume it is, that goes across that row of the roller is a little weaker than the others, that it might be showing up just in that area. So our first thing is, how fresh is the toner? How recent is the toner? Now, if you've had the toner, if the printer has only printed 100 pages on this toner cartridge, and you might say, well, it's fine. Yeah, but if it's in there, if that toner cartridge has been in the printer for 5 years, yeah, I don't know. Toner lasts longer than ink does. Well, the ink lasts fine. It's that if you're not using your inkjet printer frequently enough, the jets will get clogged, the internal pathways will get clogged. Inkjet printers need to be used on a regular basis. Toner could be stuck on the cartridge roller. If it's stuck on the cartridge roller, I would more expect some smears and smudges. I think it's not getting toner onto that part of the roller. Various methods to do this. All depends on how you get access to the print head for cleaning the inkjets, I think you're referring to there.
Your graphics driver timer is done.
Alexa, add 5 minutes to the timer.
5 minutes added.
Does it happen on different printouts? Good question. I'd like to see it happen on other printouts. Now, if you do a test page from Windows, let's see, do Windows key, control printers. I'm not sure if I have any printers installed on Big Beast Build. Whoops, that didn't work. Control printers. Nope, that's still doing a search. All right. Windows key R. Control printers. That should get me there. Here we go. Yeah, see, I don't have any printers installed on Big Beast Build. I do my printing from Baby Beast. But when you right click and go to printer properties and print test page, that's what you want to do right there. Because that page is going to be more full, has more content. You're going to be able to see the problems more clearly. Forbin Colossus, hello to you. I have a 5-year-old Dell laptop. I want to replace its one 512 gigabyte SATA hard drive. How do I deload Windows 10 to a new larger but blank 1 terabyte SSD? Let's see. Tomorrow's topic, if Bobby comes on Zoom, we'll deal with his topic tomorrow. And then Forbin, I'd be happy to do a full Windows Daily on this. How do I deload Windows 10 to a new larger? So what we need to talk about for you is the whole process of cloning to the new M.2 drive from the SATA hard drive. And it'd be really good if you can come on Zoom with me so we can have a conversation about it. If you're interested in doing that, at the end of this live stream today, I'll display my email address again. Send me an email. I'll send you the Zoom credentials, and we'll pick a day to work on it. Well, Doug, the type of printer cleaning I was talking about is a little bit more removing debris and paper from the gears and rollers and paper guide areas. Doing the normal printer cleaning using the software to clean the nozzles is something to do also, but I'm not sure we'll resolve this issue. Well, again, I don't think there are nozzles. I think this is a laser printer. The problem with restarting your router goes back to what we were discussing the other day. Drivers get updates, and sometimes they may require a restart. They shouldn't, but they do need a restart. I thought most of these routers these current vintage routers will restart themselves when they need to, but yes, that's certainly a possibility. And that's something to do with the update process. Sophistication of the router to do a restart. Frontier came to her house 3 times this month. They did a restart with her router, and it still has the same issue. They are trying to get her to pay $300 for a new router. Yeah, I don't like that. They're saying their router isn't going to work. They did a restart with the router, still have the same issue. So I would assume that they connected a computer directly to the router with nothing else connected, with an Ethernet cable, and still find a problem. If they're only using her computer, then and they haven't tested with another computer, well, that doesn't limit the possibility that there's something going on with her computer. Now, you went over to her home, and I'm not sure, you said that you tried your computer being the only one connected by Ethernet to the router, but that would be a really important test to do. And it might be an intermittent issue, so that you can't get a good test result. Hello, Josh. Josh, we've been dealing with about your printer issue. So, Josh, can you tell us, have you replaced the toner? How is it possible it's just low on toner? And is it indeed a LaserJet printer? What make and model printer is it? Can you go ahead and give us that information in chat, Josh? Lawn Dog, and then you'll want to go back and replay the video from the start, because there's some other pointers for you. Let's see, Lawn Dog to Jeff. I may have an issue for discussion to propose to the group. It has to do with Pro Tools and an audio problem. I need to get more information about the setup. Okay, I'm thinking Pro Tools is the name of a particular software within a audio software, maybe? I believe this person is trying to record a guitar using his computer and Pro Tools. So Pro Tools, some kind of music producing software, I guess. Something happens to the audio driver. Bobby says her router is 12 years old. Well, is it, if it's rented, if it's... Oh.
Your graphics driver timer is done.
Alexa, add 5 minutes to the timer.
5 minutes added.
I know it's a nuisance, but I promise I will forget without her. Well, I know somebody could. Well, what happens if I put in? What if can I hit myself in orange? Do the graphics reset? Yeah, it's a Doug thing. Don't trust my memory. Router 12 years old. Josh is HP. Is it a LaserJet or is it an inkjet? Gotta pull every little piece out. Come on, Josh. Is it a LaserJet? Is it an inkjet? How fresh is the toner? Have you tried replacing the toner? She bought it herself. 12 years. Let's see. That's HP. She bought it herself. Is it just recently purchased? Is it new? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's Bobby regarding the router. 12 years ago. Oh, so it's not a rental. Yeah. Hey, a 12-year-old router. It's due. Wow. I would be very reluctant for a person to go through the trouble of switching to a new internet service when they're having internet troubles with a 12-year-old router. Oh, good gollies. Have you checked for BIOS firmware updates for the router? That's really old. Lawn Dog to Gary. That's great to know. You might have a lot of input in order to help resolve this issue. Potentially going to be an odd thing, so I need ideas. Now, is that probably regarding the Pro Tools thing? And Gary responded, so Gary has experience with Pro Tools. Very good. It is a photo. I asked if is it a LaserJet or is it an inkjet? If it's a photo, it's probably an inkjet then. So is it a color printer? Because that thing you were printing was probably just black and white. And that's why we didn't pick up that it's a color printer. Is it an inkjet printer? We still haven't got an answer. Is it LaserJet or is it inkjet? Maybe you don't know. If you don't know, just say so. Better to say you don't know than to guess. But you do need to go back and re-watch this video from the beginning. Pro Tools is a very high-end tool. Did she buy the software herself? Ah, interesting. Basically, Pro Tools should be doing what it's doing. But until I get some clarification, maybe some hands-on with what to do, I'm still open to ideas. Well, yeah, you probably really need the clarification because it sounds too early to give ideas without a little more clarification of what's going on. This person kind of leaning towards just wiping out Windows 11, starting all over, and that's kind of a big job for his computer and all the software. Yeah, it's also, I'd be reluctant to do that without some more troubleshooting. Maybe the person has already done more troubleshooting. Bobby says, yes, I did no update. Yes, we did no update today. Yes, I did not update. Yes, I did not update. Ouch. What is he saying yes to? He did not do an update. So isn't that no, I did not update? I don't know. Bobby, Haley came to my house and tried my internet. It works fine. So she brought her computer to your house. You're leaving out some words. Haley brought her computer to your house and your internet works fine for her computer. Of course, we don't know what the test is. Is it a consistent symptom all the time, or is it an intermittent symptom? I know you know this more than we do, Bobby. So we're throwing out ideas and asking questions. My aunt said that you and me can go on her computer to get more information. Okay, so that would imply to me that you don't know, Josh. Okay, so perhaps we would do that during a Windows Daily or on Saturday to get more information. But how about the toner? I can't tell by connecting remotely, have you replaced the toner? That might be all it is. And I can't tell by connecting remotely how old it is, except that I can tell what the make and model is. Gary, you should be able to connect directly to the modem if it's a separate device from the router. That would eliminate the router as the source of the issue. Also make sure to power cycle the modem. So she bought her own router. That means the modem is a separate device and there should be an Ethernet connection.
Your graphics driver timer is done.
All right, too many things going on. All right, I muted her. You should be able to connect to the yeah. So the modem should have an Ethernet cable going out to the WAN port of your router, and that should be a DHCP that you could connect a computer straight to it to see how you're getting. Now, her bringing the computer to your home, Bobby, and finding the internet works fine, that's only half the test. No, that's only half the test, like that. The full test would be your computer at her home, that computer connected to the router with nothing else connected, and how is the performance? We're going to run out of time here, but those are ideas that we're putting out. Let's see, Lawn Dog, there needs to be more troubleshooting before wiping the system, starting all over. I want to avoid that. Agree. All the time. So the problem is consistent. When she brings her computer to your home, plugs into your network, the problem's not present. Now, however, when she's at her home, connected to her router that she bought, the problem is consistent. That doesn't prove it's the ISP, because it could be that router. Plug her computer directly into the ISP's router, and is the problem still present? If it is, then yes, it's the ISP. If it's not, then it's the router. Replace the router, bada boom, bada bing, Bob's your uncle, and you got it fixed. Or do you have a loaner router, or is there a obsolete router somewhere else that can be tried connected to her modem? Forbin Colossus, Doug, sorry, we'll be working tomorrow. I don't want to clone, but start fresh with Windows 10. I have an M.2 SSD enclosure with SATA connection, if that helps. You don't want to do that. You should create a USB installation media of Windows 10, I think he said, and then install the new M.2 in the computer, remove or disconnect any other drives, and then do a fresh, you just boot to that USB drive and it's automatically going to walk you through installing Windows 10 on that new M.2. Really, that's all there is to it. I don't think there's anything more to say about it, except maybe you don't know how to create a USB Windows 10 installation media. we can certainly show you how to do that. We've already got videos here and on Kerry Holzman's website and our YouTube channel and many others. So is that the only thing you need to know, is how to create a USB installation media? Fresh start with new Windows 10. I have an M.2 SSD enclosure. Don't use that. You want to actually do a fresh install with that installed in the computer with SATA connection. I only need access old files, not boot. Oh, you don't want to boot from it. Oh, I thought you said you wanted to boot from it. Searching back for Forbin. I have a 5-year-old Dell laptop. I want to replace its one 512 gigabyte M.2 drive. It's not a hard drive. Hard drive to us here means spinning drive. That's an M.2 drive. How do I deload Windows 10? You don't need to uninstall Windows 10 from your current computer to new larger blank 1 terabyte. This sounds like you want to boot from it, but down here you're saying you don't want to boot from it. I don't want to clone, but fresh start with Windows 10. I have a M.2 SSD enclosure with SATA connection. I only need, I know, I understand it now. So put the new M.2 in the computer, do the fresh install of Windows 10 from a USB installation media with nothing else connected, so it gets fully up, and then put your old 512 gigabyte M.2 in the enclosure connected to the computer, and you can access your files just by accessing that drive and maneuvering to it. You do not need to deinstall Windows 10 from your 512 gigabyte M.2 drive. Windows 10 is a electronic license, digital license, and that is coded to your computer's motherboard and CPU. So you do not need to do anything to transfer the license to the new drive. Just put in the new M.2, install Windows 10 fresh, and you'll be fine. Connect the other drive in that enclosure to access the files. It does not matter at all that other drive in the enclosure used to be your boot drive. Bobby says there is no modem. So how is there not a modem when she bought the router herself? So the router must be if there's no modem, then she must have bought a combination. Okay, that's it. She bought a combination modem router. You can do that to supply your own, because you don't want to rent the device from the internet service, but you still want to plug the computer directly into that router with nothing else connected to it, and test to see that there's a consistent problem. And then with Bobby's computer being the only computer connected to that router, see if there's a problem. Now, that definitely could still be the problem of the modem/router, because it's 12 years old. The internet service provider has probably upgraded their systems, and I've had it with Comcast, where they upgrade their systems and then contact me. We need to replace your router because it won't perform properly with our new upgrades. Upgrades to internet services is a real thing. It happens. That very well could be that modem router needs to be replaced. And if she switches to another service, may have the same issue that they still need to do. Explain what is not working with the PT setup. How is the sound being captured? It does. Josh says the printer does do color. So it's either an inkjet or it's a color laser jet. We still don't know. All right, this has been, I will read through the rest of it after I end the stream. I have not seen, I know Ken was saying he was going to do a DaVinci today, or had thought about it, but he still doesn't have that scheduled. So I will look through the rest of that. I've talked about Josh's issue, which was I intended to be the main focus today, but we've talked about a couple other issues as well. And did I cover enough about the printer. Yeah. Let's see. Does do color. I'm looking for other comments from Josh. I did not get I didn't get any response from Josh about whether they've replaced the toner. Is it actually ink or is it actually laser? So I'm going to assume he doesn't know, and we'll attempt to do that on another Windows Daily or on Saturday, because his email said we could do it on Saturday. So apparently it's not urgent. All right, that's it. There's the email address. If you want to send me an email to request the Zoom credentials, if you want to come in on a Zoom session, have a question to pose that I can deal with on a Windows Daily or a Saturday show. If you have other questions to pose, they can be in chat room or in comments on any of my videos, or send it by email. And that's it. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.